G'day YouTubers, Harry Houdini here, down under in Australia. Oh, it's a hot day at the moment. We are having a heat wave. Yes, it's in the centuries again today. So Bass the cat and I are inside with the air conditioner on. You can hear it in the background. Oh yeah, Bass the cat has figured out that the air conditioning is the best place to be. Here's a photo. This is what she looks like. Here's Bass the cat. She wasn't on the couch. She's down here. She says, I want to go outside, but you've forgotten it's really hot out there, haven't you, hey? Hey? You're grumpy. Don't take my photo. Don't do that. She doesn't mind still shots. When I try and videotape her, she gets all kind of snotty. Hey? Say hello to the people at home. Huh? No. No, that's it. I'm just in grump mode. Hey? You know if you go out there, it'll be so hot, you'll be back in 2 seconds. Huh? Bass the cat. Anyhow, there she is. She's here. Often when I'm doing my modelling or doing the videos, she comes and sits here. And it's even worse if I play them back on the TV. She gets rather confused and thinks I'm calling her. And she comes running. And then she looks at me and goes, hang on, you're sitting on the couch and you're also on the TV talking. What the bloody hell's going on? Just sneaking a quick hydration while we snapped away to the other shot. Oh, you've got to keep your fluids up. You really do. Especially if you've got gout. Yes, now. This video is all about the Hetzer, right? Now you can see it's really coming along. It's coming along well. I've got quite a lot of it done now, and that upper body is just about complete. Now, number of things on here that I have just white glued in place because basically I'm going to take them off to paint them, such as the can you see there the little muffler, right? The little muffler right there. Well, that muffler, a great little part, took a little bit of cleaning up, but there's no way I think you could sort of paint the grill and do all the rest of that's on there with the muffler in place. And the same with the these tracks here. There's a little bracket here with tracks. In fact, there were brackets on the back here as well. There were brackets back here, and I put them on because there were no other instructions in the kit. And then later on, of course, I bothered to actually check some reference material, and they kind of strap your spare tracks as well, but that's okay. I don't need them there, but I really wanted the tracks on the top there because I think that's going to look really nice. Even though it's not indicated in the kit, it is typical of these Hetzers. Even though this one I know is stolen, they stole one with some tracks on the back. Well, I always like to make my kits a little bit different and, you know, put my own personality or something into them. So mine's going to have the tracks at the back there. So that's just white glued on there, which means I can lift it off, take those tracks off, take that muffler off, and then I can paint them separately, which is my preferred method. I tried back in the 35T, that Skoda, I tried putting everything on with white glue and then priming it and then seeing if I could then take the tools off and paint them. Well, I had mixed results with that. I'm going back to my usual method that works, which is basically all the ancillaries, they'll be test fitted, but then they'll be removed, painted separately, put on double-sided tape, and I will paint them separately, and they'll be attached later on after I've got all the basic colours on. Now, some things of note here. At the back here, there's a nice little grill, and that grill's got a wonderful little bit of photo etch on there. Well, they actually had 2 pieces of photo etch to put on there, but there's a piece that's supposed to go underneath that little grilly piece, but it kind of is just this big flat thing with a tiny slit in it, and it would have hidden all that nice grill work. And all the photos that I could see, and the drawings even in the instructions, showed the cross-hatching underneath that PE grill. And I thought, I want that cross-hatching, I want that detail. So whether I'm historically accurate or not, don't care! I want it pretty. So I've just gone with that one layer of photo etch on the top there, so that there's some detail showing underneath. Now, this photo etch for this kit, it's a little bit different to what I'm used to. I mean, I'm used to some very thin sort of brass and usually Edwards sort of PE, but this PE was Academy, it came with a kit, and it's silver. I believe it's sort of a zinc sort of nickel type sort of alloy, something like that. Well, it's a bitch to cut up. and it's a bugger to file. Even the diamond files struggle with this bloody crap. Anyhow, it took me forever and I managed to file all the bloody ragged edges off, and on she went. Anyhow, it looks nice. There's not a lot of other photo etch for this. As I said when I did the review, photo etch with this was really sort of token, you know, bit of photo etch, make it look good. Alright, I'll get on with this. But look, if you're noticing in the background here, Santa Claus has been. Well, this one is from my good mate Pete. G'day Pete! Pete over there in America, he's crook again. He's got a big swollen belly. We all think he's got a bloody alien inside there, and eventually it's going to burst out and there'll be this bloody penis running all around the floor. Hope not, Pete. We don't want you exploding with aliens in you. Anyhow, get well, Pete. Go to the doc, get probed, find out what's wrong. Maybe it's getting probed that was the thing. Don't know. Hope you get better, mate. Now, did mention the Meng, the little Renault last time. That's really good, and I'll have that clocked in for next year. But also, there was a sale on at B&A, which is my favourite little online store down in Melbourne. And they have this fantastic Christmas sale with things, you know, 50, 40, 60% off. And I got some great bargains there. I'll go into those more later. That's a nice little tiger, that one. Not the bad one. There's some bad ones. That's a good one. We hope. And there's a lovely little Dragon 38T there. Yeah, I'm sort of on a 38T run at the moment. 38T Hetzers. That's a 38T. I can't even pronounce it. Lucky Spunker. What the bloody hell does that mean? I'll have to look it up. Do you know? Do you know what it's sort of like an anti-aircraft type one. But again, it's based on the Skoda base, 38T. And I've got another 38T in there, a Dragon. But it's just a normal sort of one with a barrel. Anyhow, more of that later. You want to know about the Hetzer. So let's get on with the Hetzer. I've just got some side skirts to put on it, sort out some tools, and pretty well the assembly will be done. Okay, so I'm starting on the upper hull, and I noticed something that's a bit, could be a little bit tricky, but you know, there's this little T-piece here, and it's got some hatches on, it all joins together, and then once it's assembled, it's going to go on the back here. Well, that's all well and good, and I start putting them together, but I thought I really need to dry fit this and see that it's going to fit into a shape and that all the edges are going to line up, because there's a whole lot of panels there. And then not only that, is this piece then going to fit correctly into there once assembled. Okay? Now, I can test that, but I haven't cemented anything. And I thought this might be something interesting to show you, because I'm all about dry fitting. And I'm always checking things and looking ahead as much as I can, because you can get in a god-awful mess if you just sort of follow blindly instructions. So here's all these pieces. Now, there's quite a few, because really, it's only this T-piece here. That's one solid piece. And then you've got a flap here and flaps here. And I imagine if you had an engine or something to show underneath there, you could prop them open. Well, I don't, so they're just going to have to be cemented in flat. That's okay. That's all right. So what I've done is I put down some Tamiya tape, right, sticky side up, and I started my assembly on there. And just to show you, nothing here is glued, right? Nothing is cemented. So there you go. See, that part's not even on there. And so this allowed me to see how much play there was, and whether I would need to file them or whether they needed any kind of jig pokery first. And then, because I've now got that pretty well as a piece that I can play with, I can have a look on here and see, you know, is it going to fit? Does it require any more fettling? And there was a little bit of adjustment, because the first time I put the hatches in, I put them in with a bit of gap and everything, thinking everything was lining up. And then when I went to put it in here, it actually didn't fit properly. It was hanging out one end, it was too short one end. So that was a good little trick that I used to make sure that I can get a fit. And it's a dry fit with sticky tape. So there you go. I hope that might be of use to you as another little sort of trick. And I use it quite a lot, that I'll probably put things together on the tape and see if they'll actually form. And it's all part of testing and dry fitting and working ahead. Well, I'll get on and assemble this. Alright, well that seems to have come along nicely. That assembly there is nice and flush, and all the parts are fitting well, and I've got just the kind of gap that I wanted between all those panels. So the tape's come off, and I've done all the cementing on the rear. I've used my Tamiya thin, and I've basically slowly removed off that tape and sealed each piece in as I went. So that's given me exactly what I wanted, which is I have that spaced out just how I want. Okay, now here's something else with the whole dry fitting and putting the tape in. There's there's these two parts, G9 and G10, which are hatches, right? Now I don't know if I can get some figures for this or not. Oh, hear that? That's thunder. We're about to have a big thunderstorm. Better talk quickly before we get struck by lightning. I don't know if I'm going to put a figure in this or not, and I did this with the Panzer II. I wasn't able to, didn't have the figure at the time. Later on I've sourced the figure and I put it in. So if I cement those in now thinking, well, I haven't got a figure, and then later on change my mind, it really is quite difficult to uncement and those hinges will be all buggered up. So I have a solution and a way of doing this to allow me to paint it, but leave those hatches so that I could decide later on to open them up. And this is what I do. First off, we're going to need the parts, so let's just get those off the sprue quickly. And my trusty little blue sprue cutters. Isn't that thunderstorm? It's good, we need some rain. It's been a bit of a stinker today. I had the air conditioner on for most of the day. Luckily I managed to get my computer work done fairly early, and I've just been able to do everything on the iPad for the rest of the day. So there we go, there's G9 and G10. Right, now just do a quick clean-up of these. Alright, I've got my flaps and they're going to go into this spot here. So what I'm going to do is, again, a piece of Tamiya tape. Any kind of tape, it doesn't have to be Tamiya's. It could be anybody's. And I'll pop it in here. Right. Oh, listen to that thunder. And then, taking my little parts, I can pop them in there. Alright, so I'll just pop them in place. Now, I am not going to cement those hinges. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to make sure that my tape is nice and flat and I've got those exactly as I want. So I'll be able to paint that with those in place and get all my colours and my effects, and I'll be able to do everything. And if I choose down the track that I want to open that up and put a figure in there, which I do want to do, I just have to find one, because it won't be the German figure, because this this tank was basically a taken over by the rebel tank, you know, like in Star Wars. So this is Luke Skywalker's tank. And when I figure out exactly what the figure should be, and maybe I can source one, maybe it's one of my Russian guys, something like that, he would look a little bit like whatever the rebels are in this one, then I can pop him in there. Or I can just leave it forever and not even worry about it, and my little flaps will just stay in place. So there you go, that's what I'm going to do there. And I'll probably do the same with this one. In fact, I am going to do the same with that one. And I could have done the same with this little one here, actually, thinking about it. That could, that there could come out and pop up as well. So, too late for that one. Hadn't thought of that. But I'll probably only put one figure in anyway, and that's sort of a nice commander's type position. So that's what I'm going to do. Well, I'll press on. Just thought I'd show you that little trick of taping on the inside so that you can put your flaps on the outside, and you feddle them in, they eventually end up nice and flat. And then you can paint it, but you can always have the option down the track to open them up if you decide to put a figure in, and you won't have buggered it up by cementing in the hinges. Alright, we've moved on, and as you saw in the introduction, I already have some parts that are white glued on, and I've managed to get that nice little piece of photo etch on the back there, which I only chose to put the one piece in, because then you could see through and see the grill underneath, which I thought was a much better idea. All those parts are now done. Everything's on there. That's fine. And so there's that that's that little bar there that fits on the back, but no indication at all for the spare tracks. But the spare tracks are in the kit, and so they were available for me to add. So those track links are in there. There's a single piece of the Lincoln length that's left over, and that's what twigged me. There were two pieces that could have easily have gone at the back here as well, left in the Lincoln length. But I'll just have the one there, and that's how I'm going to do my kit. So next, seeing as I've completed everything there on step 6, is we're across to step 7. Oh, I've even done step 7 because I put the periscopes in. Let me show you those, yeah. Luckily, as I was talking before, everything's just dry fitted here, so things are a bit wobbly. I'll let you fall off. Yeah, bloody Scoters haven't changed much, have they? Yeah, still everything bits fall off. Oops, sorry, you Czechoslovakians. Now there's a periscopes here, which are rather cute. See them sticking out? Little antennae there, little bug eyes looking at you, staring at you. They're cute. And luckily I'd made the choice to leave this hatch open, because remember I'd already submitted that one and thought, oh, should I have left those, use my little method here of taping in. Well, no, I didn't, and that's just white glued in for the moment too, so I can paint all that. But yeah, I'm glad I left that hatch open because the periscopes stick up through there. There's another one that goes in there, but I didn't see any point in white gluing that for the moment. They're all going to come out and get painted in a sec, well, once we get all this assembled. So moving right along, I only had some little protection bars there to add, which went across the periscopes, because there's other little periscopes here as well. They're the usual kind of squibs, usual sort of square ones, hidden in there. Don't know if you can see that, there's a little periscope in there. There is. There's another one here at the back. That's sort of like rear view, reversing camera. Meep, 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 meep. Don't run over your kids when you got your tank. It's coming out the driveway. Well, so we'll remove that lower section. It's just causing problems. And that mantlet, I haven't glued that in yet because I've got to add more. In fact, I'm going to move along right now, and I've got these side skirts to add. And they don't look terribly difficult. There they are in the kit. And I'll put them on hold to start with, see how they look, and then I might bang them up a little bit and give this thing a little bit of battle weariness. Even though I know this is a stolen version. I know it's owned by the rebels. I know it's Luke Skywalker's tank, but still I think there's something we could do with that. So once that's done, there's not much more to do after that, really. Not at all, because there's the jack to make, but I'll make that and put it aside, because again, the tools are put aside, and the little cables here, they'll put those aside. So really, I've only got to get, there's a little kit box here, or a toolbox or something, I don't know what that is, it's got holes in it. It's probably their lunch box, they probably keep their lunch in that. I don't know, do you know? And then the little side skirts to go on. There's an MG in that mantlet, which I already cut out, that little choice of a little resin plate, and not much to do. And then a couple of little bibs and bobs in the back here, and basically she's done. So I'll knock that off now, and we'll come back when it's fully assembled. Well, YouTubers, it's finally together. Here we go. She's on with the side skirts, and everything's there, and it's either white glued or I just tacked on the side skirts with a tiny little bit of CA glue just on 2 little clamp points, just so I could see that it all fitted together and there wasn't any problems. There's nothing worse than painting the bits off the vehicle and then you go to final assembly and find it doesn't fit. So like I've done with everything else in this video, there's dry fits, or in this case like a wet fit, I don't know if you call it that, but I'll fit with a little bit of, let's come loose again, bloody Scoters, not very reliable are they? Always falling to bits. Yeah, so I'll just sort of dry fit, or I'll use a little bit of white glue just to see if the parts fit in there. Now, that little nice little grill there at the end there, that's good. But the other photo etch, there's stuff on the top here. There's one here, and there's one over there. Now, I don't know what the hell they're there for and what they're doing. I know this is a rebel tank and it's been stolen, so maybe that explains it. But this one at the top here, this hided a particularly nice piece of detail that was already there on the plastic, so can't figure that one out. And this one over here at the front, it sort of has no rhyme or reason to be there that I can tell, but it goes in. You put it on there. And then there was more photo etch, right? There was a tiny little bloody flangey little arsehole. Right, now, supposed to be 2 of those, but what the problem is this stuff is so thick, it doesn't cut, it doesn't bend, it's useless. It's right in the bin, quite frankly, absolute crap. I had a look online and there's plenty of aftermarket sets, and you know, they're not that expensive, and quite frankly, if I'd known how bad that photo etch was, I would have bought an aftermarket PE set for this, because there's not a lot of detail in the kit. It's a nice kit. It goes together well. The indie links are fabulous. You know, it's not a bad kit. You can just build it out of the box. It's not a bad kit. But that Photo Etch, you know, if you've never used Photo Etch and you're a bit frightened of it, as most people are, and you go and try to use that, you'll probably never touch Photo Etch again in your life because it's rubbish. All right, the little flangey bits. Well, I bought these micro cutters, which are supposed to be the bee's knees for Photo Etch, and cut them off the fret. No, wouldn't cut it. Too tough. I had to use my razor blade and a piece of glass, and you know, just about nearly sawed my arm off trying to get the stuff off the bloody fret. And then it's so tough and it's so hard that my diamond file struggled to file the pieces straight, to the point where I've been through so much frustration making that one little flange, which hardly even fitted together because there was one part that had to fold over itself, and this stuff's so tough that it just wouldn't fold. Even with my folding tool, it just completely struggled to fold this crap in half. Now, I don't know if there's a trick where you can basically hit this with a flame and anneal it and soften it, or there's some sort of way to do it. Don't know. If someone knows a way to get around this rubbish Photo Etch, let me know. But that little flange, I couldn't get it to go together, and I put a ton of CA glue and eventually made something. When it came to the second one, I'm trying to hold it to file it, you know, because it's, as I said, it's so stiff and so hard with this bloody diamond file, and bing! Off it went into the carpet monster. Now I've got a bright purple carpet. You think you'd see a silver piece of Photo Etch on that. No, it's gone. So all I can think is, at that moment, looking down on me from up in the universe, was the great Zarquad. And that was a sign, do not do any more Photo Etch. Do you know who Zarquad is? Look it up. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Well, more importantly, Restaurant at the End of the Universe. The great Zarquad. Oh dear, that'll probably lose me some subscribers. Oh dear. Never mind. Anyhow, the upshot is I'm not putting those flanges on. And I did some research on other people's Photo Etch. They didn't even have those stupid flanges in their kits. They had a lot of the other parts and some really good stuff to clamps for the tools and better fenders and all kinds of really good stuff. So when I build another Hetzer, and I don't know if I choose another Academy kit, don't know. I'd have to be persuaded. Have to be a good price difference to a Dragon or even a Tamiya kit or anything. We'd have to see. But I'd probably get, if I did go Academy, I would get a Photo Etch kit from one of these other guys. Because, quite frankly, Academy's Photo Etch is rubbish. My opinion. Alright, that's all done. It's ready for painting, and then I get to put on the great decals. Because that's sort of what attracted me to the kit. Those decals, the terrific colour scheme that came with this. Right, well, was suggested. That was the whole reason for buying this kit. So that's good. And that little resin piece that went on there, it's beautifully sort of textured. Looks like a piece of wrought iron that's been rough welded out of a big sheet plate, and it's got all those lovely little edges. And I think that'll weather up and that'll come up nicely. So the next stage will be fun. I'll be painting this and then weathering it, getting those lovely decals on. That'll be good. I'll really enjoy that. And that'll be in the next video. So that's it for now. Not a bad kit. Photo Etch, rubbish. Throw it in the bin. That's my recommendation. All right, well, it's goodbye from Australia, and it's hooroo from Harry Houdini.